Hey Nathan, this is Keaton Everett with ABC and over your pitching video from camp. We're going to go through and talk about your delivery, your motion, break it down frame by frame, and kind of talk about what we're seeing in each spot. You're a big, tall kid. You got a lot of levers, which coaches like to see. It's something that's good for you, and especially with being tall, it is you get a little bit more angle. And so what you got to try to work on is sort of syncing up everything, getting more in line, and trying to get a little bit more use on that lower half, because right here you're using a lot of upper body. All right, so we got to kind of shift that focus down that lower half. Upper body, it's important, but the main velocity, the main forces come from that lower half. So we got to go through and we'll really cue in on that lower half. All right, so right on the setup here, we'll go through and freeze it once you get going. All right, so everything's not too bad through the motion. All right, you're kind of staying over that back leg, which is good. One thing, kind of keep those hands down a little bit closer to your chest, because as you go through, you can see how your hands drop and you break your hands right there. So we want to try to get everything efficient so we can repeat it. All right, so getting everything efficient is cutting down excess movement. So if we go from here to here and break, there's a lot of time in here to sort of cause some inconsistencies. We might break our hands here, we might break here. There's just a lot more variables. So sort of the lower we can get them at a comfortable spot, the easier it is to time. All right, but everything else is pretty good. Good balance, eyes on the target. All right. Now the one thing how we kind of talked about keying in on that lower half is you can see how your legs right up here, and once you get going, this foot kicks out right here. All right. So the whole point of using our lower half, using our hips and everything, is to get our hips closed and to get them going down the mound and leading as quickly and as far as we can. All right, so one of the things that helps out is to try to just get this knee back a little bit more over that back leg right here, and that'll close your hips off a little bit more. We don't want to do anything where we're moving our shoulders, but just think sort of lifting that knee diagonally back, and that gets your hips in a little bit better position and gives them a little bit more time to stay closed. And so then as we start going, what you want to try to get to is you want to try to see more movement forward with your hips. So if we draw a line or a box right back here, let's just draw a box right here. And so you can see as that leg goes down, there's really not a whole lot of movement forward. I know the camera kind of goes with you a little bit, but we want to try to see our hips go forward with our upper body. So we don't want to see lean back and the hips just kind of stay there. So we want to try to see this posture maintain all the way down the mound. And so at about this position here, you haven't sort of leaned back and broken your hands. You'd be more sort of, we still want to be a little bit back, maybe ear over that back hip a little bit. But the biggest thing would be our hips would still be right here. So our hips would be leading. So that's kind of what I mean by hips lead, is we don't want that foot to kick out early. So you'd be probably at this position here. Your leg hasn't swung out yet. Your hips are still going. You're driving those hips. And so because you kind of pop open early, you're going to see right at this point here, if we draw a line, that you're popping open and everything's coming way open early. All right, so right here at your foot strike. So here, looks like that's your foot strike right there. So you can see you're way open, offline. All right, that takes away torque, that takes away everything from your lower half. All right, and then as you get older, that's going to start putting extra strain on your shoulder. So you want to try to get to a point, using the line here, where you're more in line. All right, just draw that line, mark it with your cleats in the dirt. Just work on trying to land somewhere closer to that line, so you're not losing that lower half. All right, from here back looks really solid. All right, it looks like kind of tough to see with your jacket, but it looks like your elbow's about in line with your shoulder, which doesn't cause a whole lot of injuries. concern, so that's good to see. But the biggest thing is opening up early. All right. So now as you get open up early, what that also does is that shifts your weight down over your front foot. So you can see your knee is down over your ankle. All right. And ideally at this position, all right, this back leg is pretty solid right here. So what we'd want to try to see is something more along the lines of this. All right. So where your knee is behind your heel. All right, so you're just getting out front a little bit, landing out over that front foot, just because you're kind of popping open early, and that's just kind of what the body has to do. All right, so then as you rotate, you can see how your shoulder and your hips rotate at the same time through that release point. Instead of, we want our hips to be at this position here, maybe be about right here, and our front side still hasn't rotated yet. So now we're back at this position we kind of were looking at a few frames ago, right here at this point. All right, so it's just everything's kind of open up early, a little bit out front. So then through your release point, what you're going to see is this back foot kind of pop up off the ground early, and we want to try to get both feet on the ground, driving through that back leg all the way through release, to utilize that lower half again. All right, that's just how you're going to get that velocity and that power. But you're doing a pretty good job at getting down over that front foot. We just want to try to see you get down over that front foot, out here. So now you're picking up 6 to 8 inches of release point. That's getting on the hitters quicker. That's using more angle, creating more velocity. So it's just something to work on. So just stay in line, and work on that lower half. Get those hips going, keep them closed, get them going quicker, farther down the mound, and you're going to be good to go as you get that strength, get older, and everything kind of comes together for you. But anyways, hopefully you had a great time at camp. Thanks for making it out, and good luck this season.